It's because they fit these curses. Okay? Clown. Alright? So I'm gonna hop straight to the point where it speak about Israel being scattered. Alright? Deuteronomy chapter 28 and 25. It says, the Lord shall cause thee to be smitten before thine enemies. Thou shalt go out one way against them, and flee 7 ways before them, and shall be removed into all the kingdoms of the earth. Okay? So, what was part of the curses? The Lord, alright, was going to use our enemies, these heathens, mainly Esau, the so-called white man, and with the aid of these other nations, alright, them Hamites that you love so goddamn much, and them Ishmaelites, them Hamites being you so-called Africans, you real Africans, and you fucking Ishmaelites, you so-called Arabs, alright, and with the aid of these other nations, alright, but mainly those 3, okay, that they aided in what? Number 1, they was gonna make war against the children of Israel, okay, not just Judah, alright, which Ham and Ishmael made war against Judah, but here in America you had what? The so-called white man make war, alright, with the 10 tribes, okay, being the French, the Portuguese, the Dutch, alright, the Spanish, the British, alright, and out of the British came America, and those so-called Americans, and they made war with the Native Americans and with the 10 tribes, okay, not only the Native Americans, but also the Seminole Indians and the Mexicans, because they all occupied what is now America. Okay, so it tell you right there that these nations was gonna make war with us before we got scattered into all the world. Okay, Deuteronomy 28:25. The Lord shall cause thee to be smitten before thy enemies. Thou shalt go out one way against them, and flee 7 ways before them, and shall be removed into all the kingdoms of the earth. Okay. Alright. Okay. This is Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 49. The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand. Okay? Alright? That's talking about the fucking Spaniards, alright? The British, the French, basically the so-called white man when he came over here. It said from far. It's not the eastern hemisphere, far from this side of the world, which is considered the western hemisphere, alright? As the eagle flieth. The eagle is is the animalistic symbol, alright, for the nation of Edom. They tell you that in Obadiah. Okay? Alright? Get that in Hosea real quick. Hosea 8:8, it says, set the trumpet to thy mouth, he shall come as an eagle against the house of the Lord, because they have transgressed my covenant and trespassed against my law. Alright? That's just a precept to tie in with that. That's talking, and it says a fierce countenance. That's going in about the Spaniards. It's going in about the French. It's going in about the British, and it's going in about these the Americans who call themselves Americans that came out of the British Empire. Alright? They all came from afar with fierce countenance. Alright? And we didn't understand their tongue. Okay? Deuteronomy 28:50. A nation of fierce countenance which shall not regard the person of the old, nor show favor to the young. And that's what they did. Hot to the point. Deuteronomy 28 verses 64. The Lord shall scatter thee among all people, from the one end of the earth even unto the other. Okay? Alright? So Israel is scattered amongst all people. Now this clown, he don't do no research, and it's evident on his comments that he leave on the page. Okay? Because the Native Americans, alright, went into slavery on ships. Okay? Pull this up, man. This is basic knowledge, man. You can go on fucking Wikipedia, and which I'm about to pull up, and it'll show you, talk about Native Americans going on slave ships, man. Alright. It just shows the simplicity of you guys, man. Alright. Alright. This is off of Wikipedia. It says European enslavement. European colonists caused a change in Native American slavery as they created a new demand market for captures of raids. For decades, the colonists were short of workers, especially in the southern colonies, intentionally developed for resource expansion rather than settlement. Colonists purchased or captured Native Americans to be used as forced labor in cultivating tobacco and, by the 18th century, rice and indigo. To acquire trade goods, Native Americans began selling war captives to whites rather than integrating them into their own society. Okay? Since the West Indies developed a plantation society prior to the Chesapeake Bay region and had a demand for labor, colonists in the South began to capture and enslave Native Americans for sale and export to the Sugar Islands as well as the northern colonies. Okay? You heard that? Alright? You fucking simple ass nigga. Okay? The West Indies, which was considered the Sugar Islands, which the West Indies is what you people ignorantly call the Caribbean Isles, okay? They had sugar plantations out there, alright? So what did colonists do? The so-called white man, alright, went and captured Native Americans or purchased them, okay? Alright? And then sold them off to slavery, man, on ships. That's how we got scattered amongst all people. Fucking simple ass nigga. Talking about natives never been on those slave ships. Colonists in the South began to capture and enslave Native Americans for sale and export to the Sugar Islands as well as to the northern colonies. Because the two main ports, alright, for export and import for slavery during that time was in Boston, Massachusetts and Charleston, South Carolina, which is going to say that the resulting Native American slave trade devastated the southern East Native American populations and transformed tribal relations throughout the southern East. In the 17th and 18th centuries, the English at Charlestown, South Carolina, the Spanish in Florida, and the French in Louisiana sought trading partners and allies amongst Native Americans trading goods. Yeah. Where's it at? Here we go. It says right here, historians have estimated that tens of thousands tens of thousands of Native Americans